Hello everyone and welcome back to the Dark Domain. Now I know a lot of you these video to sleep. So before you drift off, I thought it would be a fun idea. If everyone could leave a comment. Let me know where you are listening in the world. Also like and subscribe if you are enjoying the episode. Right, let's get comfy and relaxed and let's. First story is telling my husband I'm tired of hearing the same stories over and over again. My husband and I have been together for 4 years. He's 29. I'm 26. I love him more than anything. I'm 8 months pregnant and so physically tapped out and exhausted. My husband is very social. He has a huge social group and I love his outgoing nature. But I admit, I have a short fuse recently. Especially when it comes to listening to his stories. It happens daily. It depends for how long or how many times. Yes, I know when you're with somebody you love, they sometimes repeat stories. But what happens if that's what 80% of the conversation becomes? It becomes a monologue of him reciting a story detail for detail and I have to act like I haven't heard it. Even if I say, oh haha I remember that, or if I try to change up the subject real quick. 20 seconds about that, then I hear anyways. And then he's back to his stories. They're all from anything like middle school, to 2020 era. About him and his buddies. Or people he hasn't seen or spoken to in years. It's just him talking at me. I will tell him something I'm feeling, and he will be like, that reminds me of when I broke my wrist when I was 16 and my friend Bryce did this. I get he wants to relate, but it's more than that sometimes. Like me bringing up going to the gym, and he will tell me again how him and his friends used to act/talk to each other when they lifted weights a little. The other day, we went out for lunch. He had a few beers. I was having really bad hip pain and I was visibly exhausted. Sometimes when he drinks he gets a little talkative, and before I knew it, the whole 1 to 2 hours of us being out turned into him talking about his college days. Stories I've already heard of. Multiple times. He said, so me and Dylan knew this kid who we hung out with like once or twice. I remember at one party he said something to me. And goes so off track, then talks about fake IDs etc. He looked at me and said, looks like you're not enjoying talking to me. I told him I'm exhausted and I don't have the capacity to listen to his stories anymore. He seemed offended. It's just really starting to wear on me mentally. Second story is because I didn't offer to get everyone something from the store. Okay. So I've, 29F, recently started a new job. I've been here for about 5 months. I'm cordial, but also somewhat socially awkward and introverted. So I don't go out of my way to connect with everyone on a personal level. Anyways, a specific coworker, we will call her Stephanie, is always nitpicking at me. About a month ago, I was humming quietly to myself, and she loudly said, God OP, can you please stop humming? It's the most annoying thing ever. I apologized and let it go, but it did hurt my feelings a little bit. Fast forward to a couple of nights ago. Stephanie ordered pizza for our department, and pretty much individually offered everyone a slice except for me. Which is fine, I wasn't particularly feeling pizza. A worker from a different department came and asked me if she could have a slice of pizza and that she had not eaten all day. I explained that it was not mine to share, but gave a description of Stephanie so that she could ask her. Stephanie later comes up and states, Opie, don't ever tell anyone who I am or what I look like. I was so confused and said, but you guys literally work in the same building. And it's not mine to share. And then she kept going on about how I shouldn't have done that. Okay. Cool. Whatever. I later took my lunch break and ran to the store to get a few snacks and drinks. When I got back, Stephanie said, wow OP, thanks for offering to get anyone else something. That's pretty shitty if you. Mind you, I was already having a very busy shift, and I quite frankly wasn't in the mood after the earlier incident. I just kind of muttered under my breath, I'm sorry, I guess I'm just shitty. I don't think I've ever directly said or done anything to Stephanie to warrant this type of treatment. But you guys tell me. Ada. And how do I address this? I am not good with confrontation. Third story is if I put a no-fly order on my ex for child support debt. My ex Sam and I split 7 years ago. There was some abuse, mainly financial and coercive control. I was the only working parent when we had children, and also the primary carer. Sam was responsible for dropping the children to daycare and school. I carried the mental load with all grocery deliveries, meal planning, paying bills etc., and had a weekly house cleaner because I didn't have time to do that on top of working and spending time with the kids. When we divorced, Sam had to get a job and was earning around the same as me. In the last 7 years Sam has averaged 8% time with the children, at one stage seeing them 13 times in 2 years, by choice. In that time I maintained the children's relationship with the extended family, and traveled with them to Sam's home country to see grandparents and enjoy their culture. I have seen the extended family more often and more recently than Sam, both with the children and without, as I also lived in his country with him for a few years and have my own friends and reasons to visit, so take the kids to see their family for a month most years. I now have the children 100%. Sam has quit work, isn't paying any child support, and is suing for 50-50 custody. Currently the child support debt is from 6 months of non-payment, at the new rate. I technically don't need the child support, but we are living frugally, and school fees will have to come from my mortgage redraw without it. I could apply for a no-travel order, which would mean that Sam has to repay the debt, or Sam's wealthy parents would, as they are currently supporting Sam, before leaving the country. However, as Sam's family are overseas, and Sam's grandparents are around 100 years old, that would mean missing their funeral, and the associated necessary cultural elements. I would take the children over, and have funds aside for last-minute flights etc. Wibta if I applied for the travel ban, knowing that Sam might miss a funeral. Fourth story is not letting my friend use the photographer she refused to hire with me. I, 28F, just graduated with my PhD in the US. I'm an international student and my family couldn't afford to fly in, so I was alone. Months ago I asked my best friend/roommate, Elena, also graduating, to split a photographer. She said it was a waste of money. I even asked if her family could take a few pics of me on their phone, and she said no because they'd be too busy focusing on her. At graduation, a rep from my country's consulate came to congratulate me and asked if I needed anything. I asked for a couple photos on my phone for my parents. He ended up calling their official media photographer, who came and took photos/videos of me. Elena saw this and ran over asking if he could also film her walking on stage and do a full photo shoot of her with her parents, friends, and advisor. I told her she could ask him, but I wasn't comfortable asking because I didn't hire him. He's an employee of the consulate and he was there for official reasons. She called me selfish, stormed off, and later texted me uninviting me from the graduation party we'd planned for weeks, saying I ruined her day and she is not comfortable seeing me. Fifth story is telling my in-laws they can no longer stay in our home when visiting. I have a father-in-law and a grandmother-in-law. She raised my husband since his mom was never really around. Neither of them really get along with me, and honestly they don't even get along with each other. My FIL constantly tries to bait me into arguments at his grown age and rolls his eyes at basically everything I say. The grandmother is the same in her own way, always criticizing how I parent my son or nitpicking little things. Being around either of them is just draining. They both live really far away from us, like over a $1,000 plane ride away, and we live in a super touristy expensive place. So whenever they visit, they stay with us in our guest room. Well, I'm over it. I realized I have absolutely no peace when either of them are here. So I told my grandmother-in-law that next time she visits, she'll need to get a hotel nearby instead of staying with us. She told my FIL and I told him the same thing. Neither of them are happy about it. They think I'm selfish and rude because we have the space and now they have to spend more money to visit, which they don't really have. My husband feels terrible about it and now I feel like the bad guy too. Edit, to add, my husband knew about this before I said anything to them. I wanted to do it because it seems that was the only way to get it through their heads because they haven't listened to him before. He still feels bad about it though because that's his family. Sixth story is not wanting my in-laws over every weekend to see my daughter. My in-laws have always been very overbearing people. They definitely have an extremely codependent relationship with my husband and don't have much going on in their own lives. Our daughter is their first and only grandchild. For whatever reason my daughter gets very worked up whenever they are around. She won't let me put her down and cries for at least 15 minutes every time they come over. She definitely has a little bit of stranger danger but nothing that she doesn't get over in minutes with most people. I think they were just too overwhelming for her. The list goes on, but to give you an example, my mother-in-law would get right in her face and touch her while we're still walking into the house with her in the car seat. Since she gets very upset now whenever they come over they think they need to see her more to help her get over that, except they've done a total 180 and don't interact with her at all because they think it'll make her cry. So now they expect to come visit every weekend, but don't interacting with her, and leave as soon as she does warm up to them. They asked to see her again this weekend and I said no and my spouse thinks I'm being ridiculous. My spouse usually works on Saturdays, and I would like to spend our one day off together as a family. So, AITA for wanting to set some boundaries around how often our in-laws visit, or am I being ridiculous? If everyone could leave a comment. To let me know where you are listening in the world. Also like and subscribe if you are enjoying the episode. Right, let's get comfy and relaxed and let's